Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Mugana and this is my channel Life of Curves. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a dating while plus size video. Normally I post plus size style and fashion content, however I decided to do this video. In my last video I did a Q&A and someone asked me what happened between me and my ex-boyfriend, and I did mention that I would be doing this video. This is not to disrespect anybody who I've dated in the past or who's, personally trying to get to know me or date me, but it's just a video that I decided to do to talk about my general experiences being a plus size woman and dating, as well as just in general all the lessons that I've learned so far, and what tips and advice that I might have for other people out there. So currently at the moment I am single. I have been single since January. So that was my last proper relationship. I was dating that guy for about on and off for about 3 years, right? He is someone who also inspired my dating or plus size post that I did. I wrote it a couple of years ago, so if you would like to have a read, it's linked in the description box below. Okay, so what have I learned so far since I wrote that post? Let me actually give you a little bit of a background to me and my dating history, I guess. So I started dating at a young age. I was 13. The reason why I started dating was mainly due to peer pressure. I was really nerdy growing up, and when I got to grade 7, people started taking more notice of me, especially boys. So in my hood I befriended a girl who, her milkshake brought all the boys to the yard, and she was like, oh my gosh, you should get a boyfriend. And I was like, oh my god, I'm scared of boys. But then there was this one guy who had a crush on me, and she got us together. This guy just so happened to be 3 years older than me, so he was 16 at the time when I was 13. This then became the pattern in my life in general. I've never really dated guys that are younger than me. I think I can recall only 2, which is my recent ex-boyfriend and some guy that I dated when I was 15. And obviously at that time I was not having sex, so it wasn't really like a serious relationship. I would say, I don't know if I have daddy issues and that's why I'm into older men. I know a lot of people like to analyze people and women especially who date older guys or whatnot. I don't know if there's a correlation, so I don't think there is. I think I'm just a mature person who likes mature things. So one of the things that I learned while being a plus size young girl, this is my first dating lesson from society, is that plus size women in general, whether you're black, Asian, African, white, it doesn't matter. Plus size women in general are seen as less deserving of quality in a relationship, and also plus size women are seen as women who should not have any standards when it comes to dating, which is actually quite shocking, because for me I just feel your size has nothing to do with the quality of the person that you are, but this is something that I learned from a young age already, how society perceives you when you're plus size and how they want you to perceive yourself. So it became a real eye-opener for me when I realized that men did not like the fact that I cherished myself and that I held myself to this level. They wanted me to treat myself like I'm here, and why they do that is so that they can control you and make you feel I guess a woman who is insecure is easier to control, because you don't know your worth, so you move where your boyfriend / master tells you to. Dating, it was very difficult to navigate the dating scene because I was insecure already because of my body size, but then to be told that because of your body size I shouldn't have standards when it came to relationships and the type of men that I want for myself. So it was like, take whoever comes to you. Doesn't matter what they come as, it doesn't matter if they are not your type, but you shouldn't be someone who has a choice because you're fat, you're short, and then on top of that, you are, in terms of race, right at the bottom of the barrel. For me, I realized that a lot of the guys that approached me thought that I would be extremely insecure when it came to dating, and also easy to manipulate. And that's what made me realize that I really need to work on myself as a person and how I approach relationships and what I wanted for myself, which is quite difficult because although you know deep down inside what you want for yourself and how you want to treat yourself and how you want to be treated in a relationship, society is quite a loud voice. And when you are raised in, from my personal perspective and my personal experiences, I am an African woman raised in Africa, where I'm surrounded by women who have been through relationships and marriages where they tell you that the woman holds the knife's blade. And for me, it's like, that never made sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense why I should endure years of suffering and pain just to say that I have a man in my life. Men aren't that important. Like, are they even important? No. So for me, it was like, why do we put so much emphasis on how great men are, where a majority of African households are run by women? And mentality of pray and your husband will come back to you, pray and he will stop cheating, just be a better wife, just be this, just be that, just be that. Although you know it's wrong, it gets to you because the society in which you live in continuously tells you that that's what you should be doing. So that's like, for a little bit of time in my life, that's who I became. I became that person, like, okay, well, I know this relationship is wrong, but I'll pray for this guy and one day he will treat me right. So one of the things that I really learned about myself in my relationships is that I really did compromise myself a lot. I was always the understanding, the flexible one, the, yeah, it's cool, you can do that type of a girl, because I really didn't want to be labeled a bitch. I don't want to be labeled, oh, that girl is like, she's got drama and she's just, you know, she thinks she's above people or whatnot. But I realized as time went by and as my relationships became more serious and sexual, and, you know, we started having adult relationships with people, that that's not knowing what you want and knowing your worth. It doesn't matter if that person thinks that you're a bitch, then obviously you're not for me, because then you would listen to what I'm saying and you'd hear out my standards. So I compromised myself a lot in relationships, and I was always like the understanding person, like, oh yeah, no, it's cool if you can't, like, you know, make dinner, you want to hang out with your guys, it's cool, we can't, you know, we can, you know, reschedule, we can do this another time, blah 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 blah, whatever. And the thing with being the understanding person is that people really walk over you. They start to take advantage of your understanding demeanor. They start to think, well, it doesn't matter what I do to her, she will just take it. And you start to accumulate, I want to say, a huge disdain for the person that you are dating, because it's like, even if I am an understanding person, don't abuse me. Another thing that I learned about myself in relationships is that I am a giver, and I've dated men who are takers. They take. And the thing about takers is takers don't have a stop. They don't have a shame, like, I've been taking from this person, let me stop. No, a taker will take. They will milk you dry. They will see that you are as dry as the most driest desert in the world, but they will still be like, what else can I take from her? You know, so you have to actually set boundaries, and that's something that I really struggled with in relationships, whether it's friendships as well. But that's a topic for another day. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little quick background story towards being like, about me being the understanding person in a relationship. Last year it was lockdown, 2020, that year. Okay, during certain periods of the year, I would go visit my then boyfriend, right? And there was always some issue with him. There was always, every time I would go, there was always something happening in his life where I needed to, in the end, sacrifice myself. Like, okay, whether it was regards to money, whether it was regards to just in general being the understanding person as to why he can't meet my friends but he can hang out and meet everybody else's friends, you know, small things like that. And at some point it accumulated and I became an angry person, and I really started disliking him as a person, because it was like, you are using me and you are over, like, you are abusing me, and you are emotionally draining me. And for the longest period in that relationship, I felt very sad, and I couldn't explain why every time I would think of him or be around him, it was conflicting feelings of great pain and sorrow, but also confusion, because in my mind and in my head and in my heart, I always felt like, but I love you, so why do I feel like this? Like, it feels right, but it feels so wrong. And the thing about having such feelings is that we often ignore what our mind, our soul, and our body is telling us. When you are not in a place that you are supposed to be in, your mind, your body, your soul, your emotional feelings, your physical being rejects it. I remember this one time we were laying in bed and I was sleeping over for 2 weeks, and like, we were laying in bed and he said something to me, and then he asked me if I'm okay, and just like a deep sorrow just came over me. Like, I felt so sad, but I lied and I said I was okay. And then he fell asleep and I couldn't sleep that night. I was tossing and turning because I kept on thinking of, like, why would he ask me that? And then I turned and I looked at him while he was sleeping and I cried, because in that moment I realized that I am not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to be in this house with this person, in this room, laying next to him. This is not supposed to be the person that I end up with in life. And I couldn't explain why, because I couldn't put my finger as to what is the reason that I am feeling like this. And I realized that our relationship had a lot of problems, but they were masked. And one of those problems is not being heard in your relationship, or being heard in your relationship, but the person lacks comprehension of what you're saying. So you can hear me, but if you don't comprehend and you don't listen with understanding and not to reply, then we're never going to get anywhere, because we both have our toxic traits and we both have things that we need to work on. But I realized in that moment that I became a different being. I became an angry person. I became a bitter person because of your doings, and the fact that in moments where I really needed you, you did not show up for me. And that made me the angriest person ever. I would lash out at him, and then a minute later I'd be smiling and laughing, and it felt like I was the craziest person on earth. But it was like an inner battle with myself, like, do you stay, do you leave, do you stay, do you leave? And I couldn't understand why I was feeling like that. My spirit was rejecting this person. I remember the one time I just wanted to kick him in the face. He did nothing to me, but I just wanted to, like, jump off of the cupboard and kick him. And it was like, because you're not hearing and understanding me, and I shouldn't have put the blame on him, because maybe that was his limits to how he can love me. I should have removed myself from that situation before it became toxic. But instead what I chose to do was settle. And it is in settling that caused me to become a different person. Nobody forces you to settle in a relationship, and even he had asked me if I felt like I was settling, and I said no. On multiple occasions I said no, but everything in me, even when I was answering, in my head it would say yes, say yes, say yes, but my mouth couldn't bring me to breaking his heart. And I realized in that moment, why am I so scared to break his heart? But he's broken my heart on multiple occasions by doing things knowing very well that they are not beneficial to me. And they are not helpful to us in this relationship. Another thing that I noticed about me and being in relationships and dating, besides from this recent relationship that I just came from, is that I am always the firstborn daughter, not only in my real life, like at home, but also in my relationships as well. Even I've never dated a man who, whether he's older or younger than me, which by the way, my recent ex-boyfriend was 2 years younger than me. I've never been in a relationship with a man who has made me feel stable and secure, where I didn't have to be the woman and the man in the relationship, or the mother, the caregiver, and the caretaker all the time. And what I mean by that is a relationship where everything happens through you, where you plan dates, you are the cook, you are the cleaner, you are the therapist, the emotional support. I never had a relationship where I could fully just let go and be myself and not be a hard person in a relationship, where I could just be soft and feminine and be taken care of and not have to worry about the other person and their emotional well-being as if they are my child or my younger sibling, you know. And I think that speaks to the type of men that I have subconsciously chosen to date. And I say subconsciously because in the moment I didn't realize it. Every man that I've ever dated has come to me in a different form. So they don't look the same. They are like different names. They don't look the same physically. But when you are in the relationship, you start to realize that, okay, this is like 2.0. I'm dating this person, but now in a different form with a different name, you know. And I started to realize that, okay, well, since being single since January, there has to be a change in my life, and there has to be something that I do where I'm not going in circles the whole time for myself. Hence, I chose to be single, so I can just learn not only about myself, but learn to pick better when it comes to people that I want to be with. I also think like one of the things that I really don't like about myself, or my previous self, and the things that I did in relationships, is I always chased a great love story. So I would give a person a chance knowing very well that this is not for me, this is not the person that I'm feeling at the moment, and I know I'm not gonna feel you, but I would date you in hopes that maybe one day I'll actually start to like develop proper feelings for you, or like actually like you better than what I do now. And whether or not I do end up liking you or falling in love with you, it's irrelevant to the fact that I'm always feeling like there's something missing. So I think that's something that I also need to work on, is not dating people that I don't feel in hopes of chasing some great love story. Because I'm going to share a couple of tips with you guys and what to look out for when it comes to dating. And these are things that I have learned through the course of my dating I don't know why I want to say career, but through my dating experiences. Okay, so my first tip is, if it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. So in whatever situation you are in, if it doesn't feel right, then it's not right for you. Okay, so my second tip would be, don't be in a relationship where you can't be yourself. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been in those situations before where I've been the person who molds myself to the other person. So if you are a sporty guy, then all of a sudden I like jogging as well. I don't even run for like important things like being chased by dogs. My third one would be, go where you are valued, loved, and appreciated. Often as women, we sell ourselves short because you think a person can grow to love you, they can grow to appreciate you, they can grow to treat you better, and all these things. But time is ticking, and you can't wait for someone to learn how to treat you better and how to do better by you. These things aren't taught. they happen automatically because this person values you and they appreciate you from the onset, and they don't want to lose you based off of stupid things. The next one would be look out for energies that don't match. This one's actually quite big for me because in my previous relationship, our energies did not match. Our efforts weren't the same. And I think I spoke about this earlier on in the video as well, but our efforts weren't the same. I would buy presents, I would buy, like, cook food, do this, do that, and I would only get like, out of four, I would only get 1 out of 4. And it was like you weren't speaking my love language, you weren't even trying to get to know my love language, and even after you've asked me my love language and I've explained it, you didn't try, you know. And then the next one would be don't settle because of societal pressures. And this one is a big one for me because this year I turned 25, and I feel like a lot of people are like, when are you gonna have kids, when are you getting married, where's like your stable boyfriend, like what's happening with you? And in terms of me being a woman, I'm old, so people look at me like, oh, you like nearly expired, you know, you're close to your expiration date in terms of when you should be married, when you should start having kids, when you should start, you know, being more serious about being someone's wife. And for me, and the type of person that I am, I have not let it get to me. This door. I have not let it get to me, and I feel like it's own pace, own race. Don't let people pressure you into rushing and getting married to people that you don't even know because they're telling you your clock is running out. The next one would be careful of emotional blackmail and men who say give me time. That is the biggest one for me because again, in my previous relationship, that was the main thing all the time. Just give me time, just give me time, I'll work on it, I'll fix it, just give me time, just give me time. Before you know it, 3 years have gone by and you've been giving this person time, or they will emotionally blackmail you for the littlest of things. Like, you know that you were supposed to do A, B, and C, and the first thing they resort to, well, I'm depressed, I'm going through a lot. We're all going through a lot, and the fact that you continuously use it to disguise your shitty behavior says a lot about you. Stay away from men who make you feel like they're doing you a favor by dating you. That is the biggest one that I will say. Actually, I feel like that should have been number one. Stay away from men who make you feel like they are doing you a favor. If they do something nice for you, if they take you on a date, if they buy you something nice, if they say or whisper sweet words to you, if they show even like the slightest of interest in you, and you reject them, or you, I don't know, like you end up dating this person, but they make you feel like you are not deserving of them and you should know it, stay away from them, break up with them, leave. That person is not good for you. They are emotionally draining and manipulative, and it says a lot about who they are as a person and what they're looking for. They're looking for someone to control. They're looking for someone to belittle, to make themselves feel better. That's not a man. That's not a man for you. Then the next one would be my next one would be don't guilt trip yourself into staying. And that's something that I've personally experienced myself. Like, I've made myself stay in situations where I felt like love was no longer being served at the table, but I would tell myself that maybe it is, but I'm just not seeing it, and it wasn't being served. But I would literally say, well, what if this is your greatest love? You're gonna miss out on this person, don't walk away. And I would talk myself into staying in situations where my head is like, girl, move, but my heart is like, no, 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 it is like that. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but another one of my tips that is very important is a man who is looking for a ride or die will put you through the most. Please, ladies, be careful of that type of a guy who puts emphasis on being a ride or die. Like, yeah, I'm just looking for a woman who's a ride or die. Yay, he will cheat on you. He will come back with like 4 other kids. He will listen. A man like that will put you through the most. Love yourself. Don't be someone's ride or die, especially when they don't even tell you where the destination is. Don't do it. Don't just gibela. Don't do it. Oh, this one's very important. Be careful of judging men who pick women apart. Be careful of that man who doesn't even have gold but is always telling you about who's a gold digger in the hood, who did this and that, and how this one is a slut, how she has like 4 different baby daddies, how she's a hoe even though he's never even slept with her. Be careful of a man who, a woman must be in the kitchen, a woman must do this and that and that. That's not the man you want to marry, because they will definitely put you through the most. They will definitely make you feel like you are their possession, and even if you decide to wear a low cut top like me today, then all of a sudden you're a woman that's for the streets. But they met you like this. They met you like this. Now all of a sudden you are a hoe. Be just because you love him doesn't mean he is the one, and I think that's self-explanatory. Sometimes you can tell yourself that this is the person that you're meant to be with, but there's something and someone greater out there for you. So don't rush yourself and make you feel like this is where it starts and ends for you. The next one would be, don't put a timeline on your life goals, and that also ties in with my earlier tip, which was don't let society pressure you into making rash life decisions. And then my final one would be, stick to your morals and your standards. Don't lower them, especially if they're not ridiculous. Like, they're simple, reasonable things. Don't lower your standards for no one, and don't make you feel like you're asking for too much. Like, for example, date nights. If that's what you like and that person's not into it, move on. Don't settle for someone who can't once in a while take you on a date and they tell you, well, I'm not into that kind of stuff. Girl, really? Because what I'm hearing is you're not into that kind of stuff and doing that kind of stuff for me, but you're into that kind of stuff and you will do that kind of stuff for someone else, you know? So why am I wasting my time here? Why am I sticking around for nonsense that will never happen? Obviously you have the time and you have the resources to do that for someone else. That's what I hear when men tell me that. Well, you tell me if I'm wrong. All of that being said, I hope you guys have learned a bit from my story and the things that I have shared with you today. Again, I don't mean any disrespect to the people that I spoke about in this video. It's just me sharing my general experience and tips and some advice that I have learned for myself with my subscribers. Again, if you're new here, hi, please check out my other videos. I'll link some of them down in the description box. Yeah, until next time, guys, please take care of yourselves. As always, I love you lots like jelly tots.